From ease to slot machine, how job platforms drifted into dysfunction, why vending machines plus algorithms equal slot machines. Hi, my name is Sarah Trumbull. I'm the founder and CEO of the Job Applicant Perspective, the first anonymous user reviews for job ads across the U.S. Kind of like Yelp in a world of professionally mandated fine dining with no health department and no FDA. This is a little level of go-to-market awareness. As well as public service for all of the gaslighting that's out there. We are an innovative platform, but we really feel that we are inevitable as well. And it's not really so much new as it is returning to the classic, which is a job market built on trust. So this comes from a blog post that I made in written form. And it comes from my Substack, and I like to do these in video essay format as well, because that helps to reach a wider range of audience. I think there's a lot of awareness and education that's required to understand what has happened in the job market in the last 25 years, and the dating market in this case. I'm specifically focused in the labor markets, but there's no use denying I see so much overlap between what's happened in the dating markets too. So I'm going to get started here. Who this is for: job seekers wondering why the system feels rigged even after hundreds of applications, employers and recruiters drowning in resumes and ghost candidates while platforms keep charging more, daters sensing that swiping has gamified intimacy into scarcity tokens, researchers and policymakers tracing how the arc ease to vending machine to slot machine explains systemic failure, economists, designers, and investors realizing that platforms' profits depend on churn, not resolution. The seduction of ease. You swipe, you apply, you refresh. Again and again. The lights blink, a small dopamine hit, silence. This wasn't supposed to be gambling, but that's where we ended up. The digital revolution began with a promise: connection made easy. No more awkward setups, emotional discomfort as you pounded the pavement. Just upload, click, and match. It felt like democratization. Interfaces stripped away friction. Opportunity seemed one tap away. But ease was never the destination. It was the wedge. What vanished was with friction was context. The awkward human texture that made trust, reputation, and discernment possible. Ease flattened everything into sameness, and technology brought a sense of entitlement to an outcome hand-waving assured us was fair and equitable. And sameness, ease, and entitlement became the raw material of exploitation. The vending machine illusion. Once we were hooked on ease, the metaphor shifted. People became inventory. Dating profiles lined up like candy bars, swipe left or right. Hiring resumes stacked like interchangeable goods in a searchable bin. The promise was predictability. Insert effort, receive outcome, like coins dropped into a machine. But two quiet failures hid inside that illusion. Number one, interchangeability. Humans are not commodities. No resume or profile can capture chemistry, context, or potential, flattening people into slots. Dehumanizes everyone involved. There is no personality, no quirk, no originality. Number two, the expectation of fairness. A vending machine implies reliability. Follow the steps, get the candy. But hiring and dating platforms profit from engagement, not outcomes. Their own fiscal year reports confirm it. Without transparency or oversight, fairness isn't required and almost never appears. Because why would it when unfairness is so much more commercially rewarded? What looked like control was really surrender. By believing the vending metaphor, we allowed hiring to become, in practice, online gambling without a gambling board. The slot machine reality. The vending machine didn't break, it evolved. Revenue gravity pulled it towards unpredictability. The candy stopped dropping every time. The outcome became uncertain, and platforms discovered they made more money this way. People still played, blamed themselves, and played again. Dating apps profit when you keep swiping, boosting and subscribing, not when you find a partner and leave. Job boards profit when you reapply, repost, and pay for visibility, not when you get hired and stop. So when the system morphed into a slot machine, every swipe or application became a lever pull. Wins were random, ghosting was default. Psychologists call this variable ratio reinforcement, the most addictive reward schedule known. Casinos use it to keep gamblers playing. Now platforms use it to keep job seekers and dating swipers engaged. This is where trauma bond logic dynamic takes root. Regardless of whether the platform's intent was this, when a system is opaque, you don't know what the algorithm is searching for, and its rules are inscrutable because they keep changing. And they're ever changing, like I said, the user is effectively in a gambling territory. The system that wounds you, silence, rejection, invisibility, also gives you rare relief. A callback, a swipe, an interview, top 10%, you've got a match. That paradox keeps people spinning long after hope should have run out. The slot machine isn't a bug. It's the business model, and the numbers demonstrate it. The U.S. recorded 0.91 hires per job opening in 2016. That has fallen to 0.74 by 2025 and collapsing to 0.56 in 2022. It's even worse than that. The actual hiring rate has stayed stagnant around 3 to 4% over the last 10 years. But all the while, during that stagnant hiring rate and the falling hires to openings, all the while, LinkedIn Talent Solutions revenue grew from $1.88 billion in 2015 to over $7 billion in 2023. Indeed and Glassdoor Recruit Holdings revenue doubled from under $3 billion to well over $5 billion. By the time we noticed, the logic of gambling had replaced the logic of markets. Our foundational market is a casino, but employers are not the house. When Akerlof identified information asymmetry as the collapse mechanism, algorithmic hiring represents its logical extreme. Markets that no longer trade goods at all, but the illusion of access. The outcome is not merely inefficiency, but stochastic extraction, gambling without a gaming board, essentially. Fancy words to say gambling without a gaming board. It's Vegas without a gaming board. The cost of the drift. Convenience metastasized into dependence. Job seekers' survival became a lottery. Ghost jobs and opaque algorithms made employment feel like winning against the house. Surveys show 20 to 40% of job openings are ghost jobs. That is potentially conservative estimates. Listings not intended to be filled. Daters, intimacy flattened into tokens, trust replaced by churn. Employers and recruiters' inboxes flooded with noise while platforms upsold premium filters and boosted ads. Ease stripped away friction, vending logic stripped away fairness, slot design stripped away hope. Each stage felt like progress until it wasn't. The real cost isn't economic only, it's psychological, civic, and cultural. We've been trained to gamble with our identity, dignity, time, and human connection, while platforms monetize the fallout. The more desperate you become, the more profitable you become. That's a problem. The counter architecture. Reversing this drift requires platforms designed around fundamentally different incentives. Consider what makes all consumer review systems work. People naturally share experiences when they feel misled. A job posting that wastes 40 hours of someone's time creates the kind of frustrated energy that powers quality signals if there's a place to channel it. The job applicant perspective applies this logic to hiring, but with a critical structural difference. Newspapers were the last trustworthy job marketplace. They worked because they didn't feel entitled to job seeker attention. They had to earn it and keep earning it with trust. TJOP returns to that model. Earn job seeker trust first. Employers will follow. Here's what everyone gets wrong about job platforms. They think employers are the hard part. They're not. Employers follow job seekers around like puppies. They'll go wherever candidates actually are. Regional job boards don't fail because employers won't pay them. They fail because job seekers aren't there. Job seekers are the money driver, but you have to be willing to earn their trust instead of feeling entitled to their attention. Traditional job platforms monetize job seeker desperation, pay to boost, pay for visibility. This creates slot machine dynamics where profit comes from prolonged search, not resolution. The job applicant perspective provides what job seekers are starving for: belonging, respect, community. During one of the most isolating experiences in modern life, when you lose a job, you don't just lose your income, you lose your acquaintances, your access to connection with other humans. It's not confusing. Job searching strips you of all of these things. You're ghosted and invisible, wondering if you're the problem. Every application feels like a message in a bottle. Platforms that restore belonging, where your experience is witnessed, validated, and used to protect others, earn trust. That trust is what we monetize. Job seekers feeling safe provide honest reviews of postings, hiring processes, and employer responsiveness, creating accountability where silence once reigned. This solves both sides of the market at once. Ghost jobs waste job seeker time and create employer talent shortages. Resume spam frustrates job seekers and floods employer inboxes. Fix the job seeker problem and you fix the employer problem too. Employers pay for access to a platform where job seekers actually trust the postings, which means employers who actually want to hire quickly will pay, while ghost posters get exposed and leave. Revenue depends on maintaining job seeker trust. Keep user acquisition costs low by serving job seekers well, and employers will pay to reach them. The moment job seekers stop trusting the platform, they leave. When they leave, employers have no reason to stay. The business model collapses. This means our profit margin is structurally tied to earning, not demanding job seeker attention. It's the difference between newspapers with classifieds earned reader trust first, employers paid to reach those readers. Platforms that feel entitled to your engagement extract from your desperation. Trust never enters the equation. The challenge isn't technical, it's overcoming the network effects that lock people into existing platforms. But as hiring dysfunction deepens, the demand for alternative processes grows. People can say this is naive, that this isn't charity, it's business model alignment. We profit when job seekers trust us enough to contribute honest reviews, and employers pay to reach that trusted audience. Traditional platforms profit when job seekers are desperate. We profit when they're informed. And let's be real, there's a reason online gaming doesn't try to isolate its players, but to build communities that honor them, to drive engagement and platform success. Genuinely, I am so confused why anybody thinks that job platforms that isolate and dehumanize and devalue their job seekers wouldn't lead to disengaged labor force. It's bananas to me. At some point, in any case, trying to earn job seeker respect, any job platform that's not trying to earn job seeker respect is just monetizing the needless engagement from employers. They're just wasting employers' time. For technical details on our interlocking trust structures that we have planned for growth and scaling, you can check out our page on SSRN. Our live MVP is at www.thejobapplicantperspective.com. We also have stuff on Zenito and OSF. These are open source platforms for academic and scientific research. Final line, transparency is not nostalgia. It's how markets function. It's not about perfect outcomes. It's about reliable ones. Reliability is not built on theater. It's built on reality. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think you should come by the Job Applicant Perspective, the first anonymous crowdsourced user reviews for job ads across the U.S. Like, we're not Glassdoor. We're not trying to tell you what it's like to work anywhere. We're trying to tell you if that job ad is even worth your very valuable time. Yeah. So stop by And otherwise, stay sane out there. The gaslighting is strong. Remember, the internet turned the job market, like all other markets, into a snowstorm. You don't want to be calling the corporate office in a snowstorm to see how to get around. You got to call the people on the roads. You talk to people on the roads, you know? That's the way. Have a good one.